What about the male side of the equation? You've kind of spoken to the
Mm,
female side. Tell us about what it's like for young guys. What are the challenges that they face?
thank you for asking that. Young men well, and I think men in general. So, I work with students on college campuses, but I also work with adults. And so I see these patterns moving from 18 into men I work with, men and women in their 60s and 70s. Men are caught inside of a culture of silence around sex that is incredibly debilitating. So there is, it is, especially on college campuses, it's for a guy to show up to my workshops already is a huge social risk for him to admit that there's something he wants to learn about sex, to admit that he might not know everything, that he doesn't have it all good. I was at Harvard University, and an administrator there, she said when students come to talk about sex, they put their game faces on. And that is what we all do. So they put their game faces on, like, yeah, it's cool. I don't have anything to learn. I'm good. I know what I'm doing. So it's already a huge breaking of a barrier for any man to show up to anything educational around sex, because it admits that he wants to learn something. Men culturally are caught inside of a cultural paradigm, essentially that they're supposed to know what they're doing all of the time. And I had no idea what a heavy weight this was until I started working with and seeing the heaviness of feeling like they're supposed to know what they're doing and they're not allowed to ask a question about it. So the pressure that men feel is tremendous. The performance pressure, the pressure to pursue. I had two young men come to my workshop at an East Coast school, two sports players, and they said it's exhausting to go to a bar every weekend and have to bring a different person home. That's the expectation. It is exhausting. And yet, like, we're freshmen. It's totally what we're supposed to do here. And that there's not a lot of community or ability to speak about sex in a true kind of authentic way for men. There's a lot of locker room talk, sort of throwing things around, but men are inside of so much shame and fear when it comes to their sexual worlds. And, to move into like a little bit more explicit territory, I would say that the fear of premature ejaculation or losing erection is debilitating in its level of fear and shame that holds for men.
Sure.
And that never have they been invited into any other paradigm that allows them to connect with their bodies and understand how their bodies can work differently, that sex isn't just a 70-mile-an-hour roller coaster ride to ejaculation and then it's over. And so what happens for men when they engage in sexual interactions is so much of their mind and all of their energy is going into avoiding those two things. And this is, I think a dynamic that is responsible for experiences of violation, which is that in order to avoid those two things, penetration happens as quickly as it can in order to avoid those two things.
So what
And
the two things are again?
premature ejaculation and loss of erection.
Duh, repression.
Right?
Okay.
Totally.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
And so, for young men, but this is present in men of all ages, I think, is do this quickly so that I'm not left with the vulnerability of my body doing something unpredictable that I don't know what it's going to do.